Hello, everyone, and welcome. My name is Yong Pratt, the chief dreamer and podcaster right here at Our Young Creators, and I am thrilled that you are tuning in live, catching the replay, or listening to this interview over on the podcast because today's special guest has literally changed my life. In particular, how I view the numbers in my business. Candie Conat, my personal money mentor, is here today to show us and teach us how to ditch the overwhelm when it comes to organizing your 2018 business numbers. Candie, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Happy to be here, Young. Thanks for having me.
My absolute pleasure. And literally to say that you changed my life, I mean, it's kind of an understatement because until we found one another, I had hired professionals in accounting and bookkeeping to help me tackle the numbers in my business because they're not my forte. They're not my strong suit. I like to do other things in my business. So I struggled for years and years and years. And then finally, when we met and you shared a resource you have with me, literally overnight, the overwhelm went away and I felt like I finally understood the numbers in my business, which, after running a business for 17 years, that's a big thing to say. So kudos to you, my friend.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm so happy that the spreadsheet has helped you get past the overwhelm.
Absolutely. And for those of you who don't know Candie yet, Candie, can you tell us a little bit about your journey in financials and getting to this point where you are today?
Sure. I've been working with businesses for over 25 years. So I started out for a large electrical contracting firm, worked there for like 10 years, and kind of learned from CPAs and accountants there because I had taken it in school, taken accounting in school, high school, and some college classes. And the person that I was working under was going to be leaving. Whoops. Are you still there? I don't know what
here.
Oh, I'm sorry. I don't know what happened. I think I lost you. Oh, there you are. Okay, I don't know what just happened.
I'm still here. I didn't go anywhere.
Okay, anyway, so I spent 10 years working there and learning from like the best of the best and decided I wanted to my own business. And so I left and started my bookkeeping business and just started knocking on doors of businesses and talking to people. And that was long before the internet. So I spent 20 years doing that and working directly with small businesses, learning about them, what they needed, where they needed help, and doing a lot of bookkeeping for them. And then a few years ago, I decided to kind of take it online. I realized that what I really love is helping business owners understand the numbers, figure out a system, get it set up, and do it, and help them really learn the back side of their business and understand the numbers and make them work for them. And so that's why I went online and started working with businesses that way and doing training of business owners. So that's kind of where I'm at now, and I love it.
And you have such an amazing gift for that specifically about helping small business owners in particular, a lot of online business owners, really understand the numbers and the pictures the numbers are painting in our businesses because, it's one thing to sort of tuck it all away into some nice software, hoping you got everything right. But the way that you sort of unpack it all and make it real and make it tangible, honestly, is incomparable to what I've found out there. And I've worked with lots of different financial people in my 17 years.
That's awesome. Yeah, that's something I try to focus on with people is making it understandable and helping them understand terms so that when they're having those conversations with people and terms are being thrown around, that they don't, their eyes don't just glaze over, and they can have a conversation, whatever, with a banker or their spouse or, whoever it is, and understand what the numbers mean. And also just understand that and know that they're not missing out on tax deductions and, that they're maximizing the bottom line. And I think one of the big things is just that I try to keep it simple so that it's just step by step and not quite so overwhelming to help them pick through it, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. And I know with the year end quickly approaching, a lot of people, not so much myself this year, thanks to you, a lot of people are scrambling. I used to be the person who it would hit January 1 and I would go into full on panic mode because I hadn't really looked at the books for a long time. I hadn't balanced books. I hadn't looked at my expenses versus my income. I had an overview of sort of big picture, but I didn't understand the minutia of what was happening in my business. So we want to make sure that all of you listening, catching the replay, listening on the podcast, can come back and go through Candie's step-by-step process on how to ditch the overwhelm, because it feels terrible to be in that place where you know you have so much to do and kind of a short span of time to do it. So Candie, can you take us back to the beginning? So if somebody is starting from today, where do they need to start to get themselves organized for year end and then get themselves ready for the tax season?
I always say that the best place to start is at the beginning, right? Sounds like a song from The Sound of Music or something. But the best thing to do is to figure out a system, number one. Simple system. Keep it simple, whatever works for you. I find so many business owners that they think that they have to use software because somebody else is using software, or they see all the ads, or they see the people talking about QuickBooks or Wave, or I don't even know. There's a million of them out there now. And that's all good if that's what you need. But if that's too much for you, you just start simple, even if it's just pencil and paper or a spreadsheet like the one I offer for free to people. It's just a place to start, and you can always step it up from there. You can start out with a spreadsheet. If you do a couple months worth and you think, wow, I have a ton of stuff here, I need to keep more detailed information, then you can always switch to software later. At least if you just start with a spreadsheet or pencil and paper, just get it down and then be able to take it step by step. So I always say pick a system, whatever it is, whatever works for you. And then the next big thing that I've really noticed with a lot of people that they are not doing is, in a timely manner, downloading their accounts, their statements. So I always say make a quick checklist of all the accounts you use in your business that have money coming in or money going out. So whether it's your bank accounts like checking and savings, business accounts, but also personal accounts that you may have had to use, like your business or your personal debit card to make a business purchase. You don't want to miss that stuff, because those are all expenses you want to have recorded to have an accurate picture and to keep from paying more income tax on your income than you should. So make the checklist, including PayPal, credit cards. If you use Stripe, or if you sell on Etsy, I think they have their own platform for paying you for what is sold, and there are fees that are incurred there, including Amazon, all those different things that you might use to sell your service or your product. So you make a quick checklist, and then you use that to go through and download each statement by month for whatever time period. If you're looking at the whole year of 2018, start in January and download those statements and save them somewhere. You don't have to print them all out, and I even tell people don't print them all out because that's overwhelming. You end up with this stack, and then you're thinking, what am I going to do with these? So you just download them by month. I use Google Drive, so I save all mine in Google Drive. I have folders set up by year and month, and then you go back and just 1 month at a time, look at the income on those statements, record them in your system, move to the next month. Mm-hmm. And I suggest, when you have a bunch of months to do all the income and then go back and do all the expense. So, but it's best to just look at it 1 month at a time. Mm-hmm. Don't think of it as, I've got to do a whole year. All I need to do is January, and when that's done, all I need to do is February. And it's just, it's like anything else, breaking it down into more doable chunks that don't freak you out, make you feel overwhelmed.
Those are some really, really great tips. And I kind of want to just go back and reiterate, because the first really important thing that you said is that you don't have to use software.
Yeah.
And this was really sort of eye-opening to me because I have seen lots of people online, and they're talking about the different systems they use. And whenever I would go into those systems, I would want to cry because I didn't even know how to set it up or where to start. And it just made the process that much more painful.
It
So
was.
you don't have to jump in there if you're not ready. And I like really the way that you've designed this to start at the beginning and go old school, because there is something about pen and paper, or even doing it, digitally, like in Google Drive, where you can add up the numbers automatically. That's pretty handy as well. But you don't have to jump into a big piece of software. You can start at the beginning, and you can just bite one little month off at a time. Don't worry about the fact that you need to do 12 months. Just start with 1 month and go from there.
Exactly. Yeah. And I think that that is a lot of what keeps people from taking the step forward to get the numbers organized, is thinking that they have to use a software of
Yeah.
some sort. Even the simplest of software, you still have to learn the steps that are included. You still have to set it up. You have to set up accounts. There's all these different things you have to do in there to make it work right. Right.
Yeah.
I mean, it's, there's a learning curve there no matter what. And so I think that's what keeps a lot of people from taking the step to just move it forward. And that's why I created the spreadsheet. And my programs that I offer, it's step by step and breaking it down into little doable chunks. And I think that eventually it helps a person. It gets rid of that overwhelm, but it also helps a person, once they're caught up, to realize that it's easy to just do a month or two, and then move forward. So it's easier to keep it caught up after that, I think.
Yeah, and I have to say that your checklist was what enabled me last year to get caught up and really go through our three businesses and get them all documented in probably a day or day and a half. And that's not continuous work. That's a little bit here, a little bit there. But because it literally was so easy, and your checklist on your spreadsheet is formatted such that when you enter things at the end of the year, it adds everything up. So there's no formulas you have to put in there, because sometimes that also can stop people from doing it. So take it from me, who has literally gone through 12 months times three businesses and did it in a very short span of time. You definitely want to get this spreadsheet. Candie, where can everyone go to grab that download from you?
They can, number one, they can visit my free group on Facebook, which is I Eat Bookkeeping for Breakfast. We can drop the link to that. And in there, it actually asks, when you ask to join, it asks for your email, and then the spreadsheet link is sent. It's a Google Sheet that I created, so it's a shareable link. Or they can go to my Facebook business page, My Back Office Coach. We can share that link too. And find the link from there as well. And it just comes right to your inbox, that link. And there's even 3 easy short little videos that come with it that kind of walk you through how to fill it in and to make changes. Like if you need to delete a row or delete a column or move something around, there's some little videos that kind of help with that as well.
Yeah, so good. And I'm telling you, you definitely want to run, don't walk. Save yourself a lot of time and headaches and frustration, because this spreadsheet will simplify everything for you, as it did for me, because I avoided this topic of numbers, because I felt overwhelmed all the time with them, just in general, because I knew they were there, but I wasn't spending the time I needed to focus on there. So now I have a happy medium where I can understand. I know that things are being documented, and literally I sent those same spreadsheets to my accountant last year, and she had no problem understanding anything in there, because she could see everything. She could see any notes that I put in there, and I shared it all through Google Drive. And our accountant was able to accept Google Drive documents, but was not able to accept Dropbox documents, which is interesting. So if you're working with an accountant, definitely check to see, what they can accept as far as accessing your documentation. But I have found that Google Drive is definitely easier for them to be able to access.
Yeah, it's pretty universal.
Yeah.
So it's nice because people don't have to have a Google account to be able to use it, as long as you set that link correctly when you go to share it. So yeah, it's awesome that way. That's why I chose it, and I've started using Google Sheets for everything. I like it.
I'm kind of obsessed now too with tracking a lot of things in sheets, and I have, sheets now that are multi-pages because it's just nice to be able to
Love
have a
that.
snapshot of what is going on.
Yeah, exactly.
Candie, how else do you work with your clients? You have the spreadsheet. How else can you help them? If someone's watching or listening and they're thinking to themselves, I need to find somebody that I trust to walk this walk with me and to really explain things and help me ask the right questions of any professionals they may hire locally. What else do you have to offer?
I actually started my business numbers boot camp. We're on like round 3 now, and so it's going to start. The next one is going to start on December 3rd, and the link is on my business page. If anybody's interested in checking that out, they can read more about it, send me a message and ask me questions. But it's basically using whatever system somebody chooses, whether it's paper, a spreadsheet, or software, whatever it might be. Starting at the beginning and walking through it step by step, and having me to be able to answer questions, hold their hand when needed, help them move through that and hopefully get the whole year all ready, or pretty close to ready, so that right after the end of the year, they can package it all up and trot on off to the tax preparer, whoever that may be, and hopefully save them some time and money and frustration with the tax preparer as well. Because those bills can add, those charges can really stack up if you're not organized when you go. People think, well, I'll just take a whole box of stuff in there and give it to them. They're going to charge you for sorting through the box. So, when you take things to them that are messy, you can expect that they're going to charge you to figure out the mess. That's the whole, we all have to get paid, right? So it's that's what my boot camp is for. It's for business owners to get their numbers in order and then really understand the picture of their business. It's not just about getting the numbers in order to get your taxes done. At least for me, I want people to understand the bottom line. I want them to understand how much money they're making and why they're making it. It just helps them make more informed decisions down the road. So
I couldn't agree more. And I want to point out too that here at OYC, we work with lots of kids and families. And this spreadsheet, I think, is a really great tool for parents to be able to teach their kids how to use. Because even though their kids may not be working in their business with them, being able to track these things like income and expenses when they're off at college and going out into the big world themselves and have to really budget how they're spending their money and really keeping track of where they are spending their money, right. This spreadsheet will definitely open up conversations you probably wouldn't have organically with your kids. So if you have kids, you definitely want to grab this spreadsheet too, because it's just a really great thing to have an open discussion with your kids about. Even though we're close to tax season now, it can be a discussion for any time. So Candie, when we wrap up this video, I would love for you to drop the link of your Facebook group and your business page and a link maybe to where they can get the spreadsheet as well as info about this boot camp, because December 3rd is next week already. And if you can get your stuff done in the next month, imagine how you're going to feel going into 2019. The overwhelm will be gone. The stress will be lessened. Definitely take my advice. Let Candie hold your hand and walk you through this process, because it really is so important to have somebody next to you to ask questions of when you have them. And Candie is definitely the person who can do that for you.
Thank you so much. I look forward to any questions anybody has.
Well, it was so my pleasure to have you on today's podcast episode. I'm excited for people to come back and watch and listen. And if you have questions and you're watching live, catching the replay, or listening on the podcast, definitely drop them down below. I'll make sure that if you have questions, I'll tag Candie so you guys can connect and she can let you know her advice on whatever issues with your numbers that you may be having. Well, Candie, thank you so much. And thank you to everyone who's tuned in today. We appreciate you spending time with us, and we wish you an amazing rest of your day. Cheers, my friends.